we go. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The moment we've been waiting for was the moment that we are living in now. When we can not only provide the best information from Moorish sources, from collective brothers that appreciate the Moorish paradigm, but brothers that appreciate the Moorish paradigm, and that's our brother in faith, and a strong, upright follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He coming on the show tonight. He coming on the show tonight, and we gonna get some real talk. Now, I want all you. Hold up, let me calm down, cause brother Dr. Wesley, he I don't know if he's seen the videos. I get a little worked up. I don't know if he's seen the stream. I get a little worked up. So I just want to say, all of the people that are critical, like 1980 critical, because Moors don't say black power and that old crazy stuff on that other channel. Say black power. And then you look at the title, it says, quote, the assault on black manhood and the assault on black manhood, black man and black manhood, unquote, black masculinity, unquote. I had to read it myself. Context. You here to learn something today. All those that really don't want to learn, they're going to be pulling and picking and splitting hairs. But they're the same ones that I was talking about last night. They're the same ones that you never see in the community. They're the same ones that couldn't lead an army of ants with a bag full of crumbs of Wonder Bread. I'm telling you, it is what it is. So last night, we did the show. It was about, let me think, social media prophets and scholars. And somebody put in the thing, oh, he spelled prophets wrong. No, I didn't. Because these prophets, I spelled it P-R-O-F-E-T. Because these prophets, they don't get money, nor are they prophesizing anything that's beneficial to us. So they just a new kind of prophet. P-R-O-F-E-T. Social media prophets. We ain't got no sound. Hold up. Somebody say no sound. Can y'all hear me now? Can anybody hear me? Hold up. Can you hear me? Hold up. Somebody say no sound. Is that me? Can you hear me, Brother Sharif? Because I've been talking up a storm. Can you hear me, Ishmael Bey? Everybody can hear me. Okay, they can sound good. Who said that? Well, we got sound. Pavali. We got sound, baby. Brett Hicks Bay. Man, listen, Brett Hicks Bay. This message, man, come on home, man. Stop listening to that mess, man. I see you over there listening to that stuff. Stop that, man. Come on, man. Man, come on, man. I'm gonna give you Sharif, Brother Sharif, email number, man, so he can send you some information, man. Stop listening to that stuff, man. Let Brother Sharif send you some information. Let me see. We trying to hold up, man. Where's the brother Wesley Muhammad? He say he trying to get in. Brother Sharif, I don't know. He say he can't just hit the link. Yeah, he got to hit the link. There goes my brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hey, brother, I don't know if you've seen the show, but I'm a little worked up type of mood, brother. I'm excited. Brother, I'm excited because it's our time. It's the righteous man time. We are living in our time. And brother,
it absolutely is our time.
Absolutely, brother. Let me stop for a minute. Let me stop. Listen, family, we're going to get it moving. We're running a little bit behind and we're going to get it moving. But I got to say this. Brother, when I post that you were going to be on the show today, a shout out to Brother Sharif and Brother Ishmael Bey, brother, because they make things happen around here. They make things
out to all the Moors.
Absolutely. But when I said that, a friend of mine, I'm from Baltimore. I live in Baltimore by the way of Annapolis, Maryland. And me and my brother, shout out to my brother Troy X. Man, that brother put in work. Boots on the ground, put in work. And we always doing something together. I know he watching tonight. Shout out to him. Shout out to Tyler X. But my brother Tyler X said, brother, you used to bully me in school and you owe me. He said, tell the doc, I say, assalamu alaikum. So I'm telling you from Tyler X Snowden, he says, assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Tyler X.
So with that, my brother, first and foremost, I rise giving praise to the great God of the universe, Allah. I give honor to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to everybody who's doing the work to uplift our people and liberate our people from under the on hand of oppression. With that, let's go right there. Anybody want to come in the chat, introduce yourself, and let's do it. Let's get it moving, brother. How you doing?
Let's get it moving, God. I'm doing well. I'm honored to be on Moorish World TV. All three of you, I admire your work. The three of you are doing powerful work, banging on these streets for Allah and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Absolutely, my brother. Brother Sharif, are you there?
Yes, sir. Islam, big brother.
Islam. But brother, I'm gonna tell you what, man. Let me tell you a little something, man. You know, I don't have no shame. You know what I mean? Because I feel as though I'm on the right path. So when I say I'm excited because my brother here, bro, this ain't. Maybe you call me with, hey, you know people out there that go get mad. Man, he's starstruck. Yep, I'm proud of my brother.
Yes, sir.
And you should be too.
And I'm proud of mine. I'm starstruck because when I see you, I see God. And I'm Google over God. I'm Google over God. Starstruck.
Yes,
God.
sir.
Brother. Yes, sir, brother. Brother Sharif, come on in. Let's get it rolling, brother. I'm excited.
Yeah, I want to, you know, to my brother Wesley Muhammad's point, you know, not too long ago, as a matter of fact, very recently, some people who don't have the benefit of true religion or true Islam, you know, pun intended. They don't have the benefit of true Islam. They try to take the brother to task for how they feel about their leader and teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They worship him and this, that, and the third. Same thing they say about us about Prophet Drew Ali.
There it is.
You know, but I want to say this. You know, first we rise giving praise to Allah, who's almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, but closer to us than our jugular vein. We give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Why? Because we're instructed that we honor man. Because when we honor man, we honor our Father God, Allah. So I don't got no shame, no problem. I'll use the brother's words, going Google over my brother, my prophet, you know, or any other Asiatic, man, because when we look into the face of our brother, we see Allah God, man. So I got no problem with that at all. I got no problem. I want to give honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I want to give honors to all organizations that seek to aid and uplift fallen humanity, especially our people here in North America, and that includes the Nation of Islam. I want to give honors to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want to give honors to all past and present membership of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I want to give honors to the Allah team. I'm not ashamed to say it. Some people gonna get mad. I'm not ashamed to say the brother is on the call right now, and he knows that the founding of Ali's men in large part was influenced by the work we as Moorish Americans saw the Allah team doing.
Praise
That's just the fact. I'm not mad at that.
Salute, God. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I'm going to take it a step even further, right? I want to give honors to my brother Ishmael Bey. I wanted something that a lot of y'all don't know. See, Amin Ra Squad got its start back in 1993 in Syracuse, New York. It was called a little something else. It was called the Universal Order of Ra, and it was birthed in my brother Ishmael Bey's apartment, Towns and Towers. That's what it was, brother. That's 1993. I just need to put
Shout
that
out
there.
to Ishmael Bey and the
Yes,
honor.
sir. I just need to put that out there. So it's some real power on this show. I'm excited. I got bragging rights. I'm sorry. I gotta say it. I believe still 2017, I'm the only individual that shared the stage with my brother and comrade in arms, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and it wasn't a debate.
No,
you see what I'm saying? Collaborative.
Correct. That is
I think
correct.
I'm the first to do that. So,
that is correct.
I mean, that was history.
And that was a powerful collaboration we put down in New York City, Brother Sharif.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. I'm gonna use Talk Bay's enthusiasm. I'm still high off that, and it's 4 years later. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I am. Word is bond. With that, I say peace.
Peace. Brother Ishmael, come on in, my brother. Don't everybody know who you are. All that 93 stuff, let the people know who you are, brother. They in the chat. They trying to figure out. No doubt. I'm just playing, my brother.
Peace and blessings to the family. First of all, thank you so much, Brother Taharka, for hosting such a wonderful show on Moorish World TV. I want to thank Dr. Wesley Muhammad for taking time to come and share and expound some information with the family. We love him, and we want to make sure to let him know that we support him and let him, as he educates us and answer a lot of the questions that we may have. We just want to make sure that the brother feels welcome. Also want to let Brother Sharif know, he's my brother, he's my teacher. And I just want to let him know that I love him and I love the works that he's doing also. A man is measured by his works, and his worth is measured by his works. And what we have among us is we have Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and he's a man that's measured by his works, whether it's his loyalty to his teacher, whether it's his dedication to education, whether it's his love and what he's shown to give us as Black people. His works is a measurement and a testimony of his character. And what he's doing is putting in the work. And as we assist him on us doing our duties, it's to the benefit of us as a people itself. So I want to thank the brother. He's very, very worthy to be called Mr. Muhammad, to be called a Muslim, to be called a believer. And I sincerely thank you for taking time to spend some time with us this evening, brother.
I'm humbled. I appreciate that, Brother Ishmael.
Absolutely.
I don't know if the general public knows we have a long history, a long, colorful history. And, in our history, we went from admirers to foes to allies. Through it all, I think there was always mutual respect. And I know where we are today is mutual respect and mutual admiration. I admire what the Amin Ra Squad, which you founded in your apartment, is that correct, Brother Sharif, in the guy's apartment? I respect the mandate that the Amin Ra Squad is trying to live up to, as we all should be trying to live up to, the mandate to raise the bar of Black scholarship, to make Black intellectuality, conscious Black intellectuality, respectful and respectable again, because we lost both respect and respectability. And so I appreciate the Amin Ra Squad. Shout out to Dr. Oya Mayat from the Amin Ra Squad and the whole Amin Ra Squad. I respect what you founded, what you set in motion, Brother Ishmael.
Thank you, King. I appreciate that. Brother Dr. Wesley, I think that the topic that you're bringing up tonight is something that's, number one, is right on time. But number two, it's so crucial that we try to get an understanding of exactly what you're saying. And then we can also find out what you're not saying. Find out, maybe something that's being misinterpreted, or maybe somebody jumping the gun and assuming the wrong thing. So it's good to add clarity
I see a lot of that
to the situation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think that this is a good opportunity to enlighten the audience on exactly what it is that you're saying, and exactly what the mission is. If you can kind of just give us the basis
yeah
of the book itself, sir.
yes sir. Well, the book is entitled Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity. And that's not verbosity or redundancy. Um, the assault on the Black man, Black manhood, excuse me, Black manhood, and Black masculinity, they are related, but they are not identical. And in the book, which is 404 pages and 22 chapters, I shine light on various aspects of the architecture of the assault on both the Black man, our person, the physical assault on the person, on the life of the Black man, on Black manhood. For example, an example of the assault on the Black man is the police killings of Black men across this nation, Black men and Black boys across this nation. That's an assault on the Black man. I shine light on the architecture of the assault on Black manhood, which is a little different. For example, the socio-economic system of America that deliberately, economically disempowers the Black father, disempowers the Black male in America, disabling him to be the head of his home. So many Black men are unable to do our duty in our home by our wives and by our children. Too many Black men are in a situation where our women are the financial breadwinners of the home. That is not an accident. That is deliberate. The educational and economic and social elevation of Black women in this society, and the continued de-educating or uneducating and unemploying or disemploying of Black men in this society. Both of those trends are deliberate, and both of those are work to disempower the Black male in his home. That is an example of the assault on Black manhood. He can't be a man in his home economically disenfranchised. If I am laying up in my woman's house, I'm driving her car because I can't purchase a car myself. If she is paying the bills, that is a situation that does not allow me to maximally exercise my manhood. And this is deliberate. So that's an example of the assault on Black manhood, disallowing Black males to be men in the home and in society. And thirdly, I shine light, inshallah, on aspects of the assault against Black masculinity. Now, you can be a Black male with a well-paid job, enabled, and even providing for your family, but still but your masculinity can still suffer. When you have, for example, overly emotional men in the home, you have men that make a lot of money but are unable to control in our home and in society, control our impulses. So you have a lot of Black men in the hood that are very impulsive. We can't control our emotions. We can't control our passions. And most of the carnage in the Black community, in the hood in particular, most of the carnage results from impulsive behavior. We get inflamed, we get in passion, and we act. Well, the impulsivity, that's the signature of Black males in the hood today. That's deliberate. The biochemistry that controls impulsivity, that controls a man's emotion, that biochemistry has been deliberately, scientifically under assault. And so you have Black males that are over emotional, can't control their impulse. And so this is why Black men in the home lash out physically and beat their woman, because they are unable to control their impulse. Well, impulsivity among us, I document, it's not an accident. This generation of Black males is highly emotional. You see it in current Black male leadership. To be frank, I've never seen such an emotional class of Black male leaders who are so emotional, so sensitive, so impulsive. It is because the Black community has been, in a Black male in particular, our masculinity, our ability to control our impulses has been under scientific assault. And so while we may be breadwinners in the home, and thus that part of our manhood is secured, but how do we relate to our wife? If you got two emotional people in the home, that means one is appropriately feminine and the other is feminized. And so the long and short of what my book documents in 22 chapters is the various aspects of the assault, the deliberate assault on the Black man, his manhood, and his masculinity.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Yeah.
I sent to our brother Sharif an article that's dealing with from the Chicago Tribune, and it's titled "Chicago Water in Public Reports: City Silent Over Sex Hormones and Painkillers Found in Treated Drinking Water."
Yes.
Now, these silent over sex hormones that they're putting in the Chicago Tribune, as well as the pharmaceuticals, they said that there's an increase of sex hormones in the San Francisco water, also in their drinking water. Does the findings of these type of chemicals in the drinking water, in the things that we use for recreational drugs, how does that affect, or are you finding a correlation between these type of things in the environment and how it affects us? I mean, sex hormones, what is that about? Have your findings come across any of this type of stuff?
Yes, Brother Ishmael. That Chicago Tribune article is a follow-up to a 2008 Associated Press investigation entitled Pharma Water, Pharmaceuticals Found in Drinking Water. It was a very extensive investigation. The water supply of all of the major and many of the minor cities in America. The Associated Press discovered that 50 million Americans are subject to water contaminated by a whole host of pharmaceuticals, of chemicals. But what they found most importantly is that the most highly contaminated water sources all were concentrated around the inner cities. The inner cities are the greatest victims of contaminated water supply, contaminated with pharmaceuticals and sex hormones, but sex hormones is a euphemism. The chemicals that were found contaminating the water sources servicing inner cities are estrogen and estrogen simulants, estrogen mimickers, or what they call anti-androgens. Androgens are male sex hormones, such as testosterone. These male sex hormones are the basis of masculinity, biological masculinity. Understand, Brother Ishmael, as those behind this assault, as they understand well, because they discovered by 1980 and formulated a particular plot to take advantage of this knowledge, a plot that we can describe, or what they described as the paradigm of socio-pharmacology. I'll talk about that in a minute. But what the discovery, the knowledge that led to socio-pharmacology is the knowledge that gender, most of what we understand to be gender and sexuality, is not genetic. Most of gender is biochemical. It's biochemistry. Gender differentiation begins genetically. The gonads of the fetus initially is non-sexual. It's neither male, the male gonads are the testicles. The female gonads are the ovaries. The gonads are where the sex hormones are produced, but in the original fetus, initially the gonads are non-sexed. How does the gonads become sexed? It's a gene on the Y chromosome that will make that gonad morph into testes. If there's no Y chromosome, then the gonad will, by default, morph into ovaries. That's the last time genetics plays a role in gender differentiation. From that point on, the development of gender is biochemical. Why am I talking about this? They learned and mastered that going into the 80s, and they determined how easy it is, because gender and sexuality is mainly biochemical. They mastered how to chemically manipulate gender and sexuality. And so the deliberate release of sex hormones, the sex hormones that these studies talk about, they're estrogen or estrogen mimickers or anti-androgens. These are chemicals that deliberately assault male sex hormones, testosterone. And understand that testosterone is not a libido hormone. Testosterone is primarily and most importantly a power hormone, a dominance hormone. Testosterone is the biochemistry that urges and facilitates male acquisition of dominance. A high level of testosterone is necessary for a male to pursue dominance. By lowering testosterone, you lower the inclination of a male to pursue dominance, and you inhibit the behavior necessary to acquire dominance. So I said when I spoke at Mas Mariam that the Black community is under an estrogen assault. That on one hand, the Black community is flooded with excess estrogen, those sex hormones in the water supply that concentrates around inner cities. And I talk about why the inner city is the focus. Because the inner city Black male has been public enemy number one to this government since Watts blew up in 1965. Detroit blew up with the urban rebellions. Detroit blew up in 1967, and then 100 cities blew up following the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Those urban rebellions made the inner city Black male the boogeyman to what we could call the deep state, the behind the scenes government of this country. The inner city Black male has been the boogeyman to the powers that be. And so much of the public and private policy since 1965 emanating from this government has been designed to tame and neutralize the inner city Black male. And this is why the Chicago Tribune can report, following up the Associated Press investigation, that not just Chicago, but Philly, Detroit, Akron, Ohio, the major Black cities, theirs is a water supply that has a high concentration of these chemicals, of these feminizing chemicals, estrogen, and demasculinizing chemicals, anti-androgens.
Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad, is there
Yes.
any code names? You know, when we start to, like, I'm conscious of what I eat now, so I'm always reading the label of something.
Yes.
Does these chemicals have some code names that we can look out for? Because I'm pretty sure one thing in the inner city, I work in the inner city all day. Shout out to Valentine L. I FaceTime them to show them what I'll be doing throughout my day. And I was in the hood all day today. And one thing I know, that people will walk into a corner store and buy these ramen noodles or these cup of noodles, and they eat them I'm talking about tons of them. Like if it's anything in there, something in there, Kool-Aid, these little huggy drinks and these little cheap little cupcakes they sell for 50 cents that they break out of a pack that costs $1. And they just tons of this junk that they selling. Is there any type of names that we can look for so we can be conscious in a way? And I ask everybody in the chat, please share this, take notes, write this down, and be aware of what you're putting into your body.
Absolutely. 2 points we have to establish. One, unfortunately, when you read a label, some of the most dangerous chemicals are camouflaged. For example, you will read in personal care products such as Axe, A-X-E, the male personal care products, deodorants, body wash, and whatnot. The label reads, and fragrance ingredients, but they don't specify on the label what fragrance ingredients is being used. In most cases, the fragrance ingredient that's being used is phthalates. Now, phthalates, let me get the proper spelling for the audience, because it's spelled one way, but pronounced another. It's spelled P-H-T-H-A-L-A-T-E-S, but that PH is silent. The chemicals are phthalates. Phthalates are an anti-androgen chemical. Phthalates inhibit testosterone production. Phthalates also, it has been demonstrated in lab studies, phthalates induce feminizing behavior in boys. Mothers who during pregnancy, their urine indicated a high level of phthalates, which they got into their body by their fragrances, by their makeup or their perfume. Fragranced personal body products have these phthalates in them. And mothers who, while pregnant, had high levels of phthalates in their urine, they tracked their male babies and found that, in fact, their male babies were feminized in their behavior. So phthalates is one of the key culprits in the chemical feminization of the country. But when you look at most of these products, you look at the label, it won't say phthalates, it'll say fragrance ingredients. So they are concealing the culprits, but there are a lot of chemicals that and substances that we do know and should stay away from, including soy. Now, I want to say this about soy. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us in the Nation of Islam, don't eat soy. And of course, everything that God says, don't do,
we do.
Satan says do. So a whole series of healthy lifestyles were constructed with soy as a base. So a lot of vegetarian lifestyles. You can go to the grocery store and see a whole section of vegetarian foods, meat substitutes, non-meat substitutes that are soy based. And from that, you had a lot of people in the conscious community, in the health conscious community, who took to these soy diets and then turned around and said, see, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or in their words, Elijah didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So they consumed these soy-based diets, thinking soy is a healthy food. And then after a while, they find out men wake up and they got man boobs. Soy right now is known. It's a fact. Soy, when digested in the system, becomes an estrogen simulant. It simulates estrogen in the body, and it feminizes the male body. So soy produces man boobs in men. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't eat soy, he was right. and you running around, not our guest hosts, but others with your healthy lifestyles because you wanted an excuse to reject the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's healthy lifestyle, how to eat to live. You embraced sword, and in so doing, you feminized yourself, you feminized your babies, and you masculinized yourself, sisters, because this is a secret that most of us didn't know, and I will end here. While excess estrogen feminizes the male, and I say excess estrogen because men have a natural amount of estrogen in our body, just as women have a natural amount of testosterone in their body. The yin and yang is real, is biological. But of course, the male biochemical profile is high testosterone, low estrogen, and the female biochemical profile is high estrogen, low testosterone. Excess estrogen in men feminizes men, but excess estrogen in women masculinizes women. And so that's why I said the Black community is under an estrogen assault. We can't talk about the feminization of the Black man without talking about the other side of that coin, the masculinization of the Black female.
On that note, so would it be fair to say would it be fair to say that when people try to say, well, people are born gay, would it be fair to say that they have ingested too much of these things and they have grown into the reality that they find themselves in thinking they were born that way?
Well, yes, two things. I'll raise a question and I'll raise it here for this discussion. It's inflammatory. Many will find it offensive, but it's important. How do you make God gay? Let that marinate for a moment. How do you make God gay? Well, some would say you can't. However, when you go outside, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said every time you see a Black man, you're looking at God. You go outside, you see a lot of Black men gay. So how do you make God gay? Well, there's only one way to make God gay. You have to make God not God. So by making God not God, and what do I mean by that? God is a being of force and power. By disempowering the Black man, the first step of making a Black man gay, setting him on the road to feminization that may climax with homosexuality or being gay, you disempower the Black man. I want to put that out there. To your direct question, are you born gay? Some are, but not because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but because I have documented that by 1987, these scientists bragged about having mastered 5 methods of inverting gender in the womb. Gender inversion, transforming male fetuses into females. They mastered and they outlined in their reports. We got the reports. 5 methods of deliberately inducing gender inversion, homosexuality in the womb, because gender is biochemical. once they learned that most of gender and sexuality is biochemistry, they mastered the manipulation of that biochemistry, not just with us in the world drinking this water, eating this contaminated food, and it has its effects, but they know how to manipulate the biochemistry of the fetus in the womb. So some are born gay, not because Allah did that, but because Satan did that. Now, we are not saying that every gay person has been chemicalized. Others have been propagandized,
Yes, sir,
into their homosexuality. By which I mean this government is going out of its way to normalize homosexuality in the Black community. They did insidious studies. I'm thinking in particular of the Johns Hopkins University study. There ain't no study. The objective of which was to eliminate, in their words, homo negativity in the Black community. Eliminate the negative stigma against homosexuality in the Black community. They invested $400,000 in this study, and you know what their method was of eliminating homo negativity in the Black community? The method was to study young Black boys who are anally penetrated by older men, sodomized, study their satisfaction levels of being sodomized by older men, and reporting those satisfaction levels as a good thing. So there is a psychological assault on the Black community in an attempt to normalize, to ennoble homosexuality in the Black community, and many of our people have fallen victim. So there's a lot of the Black homosexual phenomenon is the result of chemicalization, but a lot of the Black homosexual phenomenon is also the result of propaganda, forcing homosexuality down our throats, down our babies' throats, through TV, for example, Empire, through cinema, for example, Moonlight, and others. So yes, some are born gay, but not because God made them gay, but because the white man is the devil. Others are gay because as a result of this intense propaganda campaign aimed at Black America to normalize, sanitize, and ennoble homosexuality among us.
yes, sir. I want to pass it on to my brothers, but I got one more important question, and I'm compelled to do this because me and my brother Tyler X, man, we went from, as they say, grade school together, and he sent me a question for you. And this weed culture has gone crazy. This weed culture, this loud, and they call it loud, and they got some other names for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. It's so crazy that a neighbor of mine, shout out to, I ain't gonna say your name, a neighbor of mine one day knocked on my door and said that she know my lifestyle. She know how I get down. I looks out for, you know what I mean, the neighbors, whatever, but she knocks on my door one day and say, well, you know, I don't get my check till tomorrow, but you think I can get like $20? I need me a bag. I just don't feel right. This weed has turned into, I said, I'm not giving you no money for no bag. What's wrong with you? You know how I get down. Stop playing with me. You know, she know what I'm talking about too. And she looks up to me. But that day, I don't know what happened to her. It got the best of her, and all things went out the window. It all fell apart. So first question, I got two questions. The first question is, this new weed thing, that's not, now, I ain't no spring chicken and I ain't no angel. Back in the day, I puffed a little stuff back there. That was back in the day.
Right,
But
right,
this
right.
stuff seems like it's crack or something, man. What is wrong with this new weed? Is it chemically engineered? That's the first question. And then the second question, my brother Tyler X, shout out to my brother, One Love. He says, is this all weed or is it homegrown weed? And whatever it is, how do we get this across to our brothers that this, because I seen the lecture too that you did on it. How do we get this out to our brothers, sisters, and whom have you, that this weed is designed, it's a designer drug to do what it do? How do we teach it?
Yes, thank you. Well, first, let's back up a little, because you are absolutely correct. This weed thing is out of control. I said, and I say here, weed is the true religion of the hood. Weed is the true religion of the hood. And it's not an accident. The religion of the hood has two gods, the blunt and the bottle, marijuana and alcohol. That is not an accident. Let's back up a little bit to set the stage, because this is vitally important and we do have to get it over to our people. I mentioned that testosterone is not a sex hormone, as in a libido hormone. The white man knows that that's a gross trivialization of what this biochemical really is. And he only trivializes it to Black people for a reason. Testosterone is what they are now calling, as I stated, the power hormone. Dominance behavior that leads to dominance acquisition. And again, let me clarify what I'm talking about when I say dominance. I'm talking about what white folks call dominance hierarchy. The scientists have studied what is it about dominant male groups that made them dominant. What is it about non-dominant or subordinate male groups that resulted in their non-dominance? Is there something about inherent in dominant males that inclined them, predisposed them to dominance? Is there something in non-dominant or subordinate males that predisposed them to subordination? What they found is that the dominance hierarchy, that there is a biochemical profile to a dominant male, and there is a biochemical profile of a non-dominant male. For example, the biochemical profile of a dominant male is high testosterone, because testosterone drives the quest for dominance. High testosterone, low cortisol. Cortisol is a biochemical that tames, that handcuffs testosterone. So a dominant male has high testosterone, low cortisol. A dominant male has high serotonin. Serotonin is a brain chemical that they also study that likewise facilitates dominance. Non-dominant males have low testosterone, high cortisol, and low serotonin. Why do I say all of that? That's critical to understand the conspiracy, or what I call the pot plot. You have to understand the biochemistry of dominance in order to understand why there is a liquor store on every corner of the Black community, and why we dominate every area of Black life today deliberately. It is because marijuana, specifically, a specific chemical in marijuana, THC, delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. THC, the chemical that gets you high, that's the ugly chemical of marijuana. Marijuana or cannabis was a holy herb back in the day. That stuff on the street that you smoking ain't. The holy herb cannabis that did have medicinal value, it had low THC content and an appropriate level of CBD, cannabidiol, another chemical. Cannabidiol is the good stuff of cannabis. That is what makes cannabis medicinal. Cannabidiol. This is a drug that is a chemical in cannabis, in marijuana, that is neuroprotective. It protects the brain, whereas THC is neurodegenerative. It degenerates the brain. Cannabidiol or CBD don't get you high. THC gets you high. But in the ancient time, they weren't smoking it. That's not what marijuana is for. It's a holy plant until you smoke it. Nothing that you smoke is holy anymore. Coca plant was a holy plant. But when you smoke it as cocaine, it ain't holy no more. Coca has as sacred a history as does cannabis. But both cannabis and coca, when the devil touched it and got y'all to smoke it, it took what God made and conscripted it into the service of Satan. God did make cannabis like God made the coca plant, but God never said smoke it. But beyond that, the cannabis, the weed that y'all smoking today is not only is it not the ancient cannabis, it's not even the joints that the jazz musicians of the 1940s smoked. The jazz musicians of the 1940s, the weed they smoked had a THC content of less than 1%. The weed you smoking today on average has a THC content of 10%. This is an enormous amount of a very deadly drug, chemical. And what it does, not only does it assault the prefrontal cortex of our mind, it assaults the Leydig cells, which are the cells that produce testosterone. THC prevents the production of the power hormone of men, testosterone. And so I close with this. The dominance hierarchy studies found that men, because testosterone is a signature of the drive for dominance, what they found is in male populations that revolt against oppression, they have high testosterone levels. High testosterone levels incites rebellion against oppression. So let me ask you this. Black men, Black people are the most oppressed people. After the urban rebellions of the late 60s, Black folks don't revolt. Black men don't revolt. We protest, we march, but we don't revolt. Why? How is it that the most oppressed population on the planet It doesn't matter how egregious the assault on our community gets. Michael Brown after Michael Brown after Michael Brown after Michael Brown, it doesn't matter. Nothing seems to stimulate us to rise up against our enemies. Why? Because our testosterone has been assaulted by what? By the blunt in the bottom. We are happy getting lifted. Smoking weed, and it inhibits our testosterone. We are happy getting bent. And not only does that alcohol shrink our testicles, chronic use of it does. You alcoholics out there, I'm not going to ask you to fact check. Yeah, you're going to say, well, no, my things are hanging large. Yeah, but if we fact check you, we know you're not about to drop your pants right here, right now. So you just blowing wind. But the science says chronic use of alcohol not only shrinks the testicles, but it increases estrogen. So this black community, this black man now, the inner city black male in particular, which was and is the boogeyman of this government because of the urban uprisings of the late 60s, where the black man did stand up. His testosterone was appropriate. But after that, the black community, the inner city black community in particular, has been under an estrogen assault. And so the religion of the hood is weed and alcohol. And that's why ain't nobody trying to raise up. It doesn't matter what the white man does to our women, to our children. We protest a little, then we go get lifted and go get bent. Our testosterone is low. And that's why we don't have the drive to rise up against our enemy. Put that blunt down, put that bottle down. That's a deliberate plot to keep the inner city black male neutralized, neutered, and feminized.
Brother Sharif, you want to chime in, my brother?
Woo. Yeah, where do I start? Like, first, I gotta salute.
1 second, Brother Sharif.
Yes,
let me say, family, I would like y'all to treat yourself to a treat, because I'm going to definitely treat myself. Check out the brother book. You know, what he's talking about is in his book. You can order it right here. It's in the screenshot. www.drwesleymuhammad.info. Please support the brother. This brother goes around the country, and I'm telling you, this is not a job for the brother coming on this show. I don't give him a dime for his time. He goes around the country, and I know most of the time he don't give a dime. He don't get a dime for his time. He do it for the love of his people. And most people that are freedom fighters don't get a dime for their time. They get their reward from Allah. So I'm saying, man, please go to www.drwesleymuhammad.info, grab this book, and get it for yourself. You can have it as a source to research and to further your understanding of where we at as a people, as it relates to what is being done to us right under our nose, literally. Brother Sharif, take it away, my brother.
Yo, first, I just got to say, I'm copping the book tonight as soon as we get off the show. And that's not because I'm a fan of my brother, because I am a fan. But we are Ali's
mutual fandom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we're Ali's men. And so, we're all about swinging that scimitar, man. We're all about action, like for real. Now, I see, and with Ali's men and the Moorish Science Tip of America, political action is a big deal with us. Now, the brother struck a major chord in talking about the assault on our people, on the Asiatic male in the urban centers. Now, you already know where I'm going with this. And he mentioned the whole issue of white flight as a result of the urban uprisings in the 60s, right? Which now leaves the urban centers nationwide largely us. And that is the number one reason why across the country you see an aggressive push of Europeans retaking the urban centers and doing under the guys who's going on in Chicago. That's what happened in South Central LA. It's happening here in Syracuse, New York, or attempting to. We're putting the kibosh on that. So what he's presenting dovetails nicely in this. He just gave us a big scimitar to swing. And so one of the things, brother, like you mentioned the whole thing, that's my mantra now as it relates to this. Gender is largely biochemical. I'm running with that. That's one of the things I'm running with that one, bro. And I'm going to tell you why, because my profession, I'm into sports fitness, and I teach martial arts. So I can tell you for a fact that what he's saying is 100% right and exact, because a large part of sports medicine is biochemical enhancement. It's what it is. In other words, the whole thing of shooting up anabolic steroids, people still do that. But nowadays, you literally have over-the-counter pro-hormones, over-the-counter, which do the same thing. And the number one thing it does is it enhances free testosterone in the system, and at the same time inhibits aromatase. You already know. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
Huge right now. Huge. And some of the number one people, I can tell you, I'm just going to put it out there, the number one people that purchase these things are Europeans in law enforcement agencies.
Let's focus on that aromatase, Brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
critical.
sir. Yes, sir.
Aromatase is the enzyme, because it dovetails what we're just saying. Aromatase is the enzyme that converts testosterone in men to estrogen. The natural amount of estrogen in our body is produced or converted from testosterone into small amounts of estrogen through this enzyme aromatase, and the process is therefore called aromatization. Now, why alcohol, the bottle, y'all getting bent? This is how it feminizes us, because chronic use of alcohol artificially stimulates that process of aromatization.
That's right.
The body has its natural schedule of converting, and its natural amount of testosterone converted to estrogen, but chronic use of alcohol artificially stimulates that process, so it produces excess estrogen in the male male body of the chronic alcohol user.
That's right.
Alcohol and weed feminizes you, fam. Y'all can get mad, you can argue. Brother Ishmael, I saw some of the comments from some of your Facebook friends, and when I said this, and all the whining they doing on your page, that's all I see is whining. I made the claims. Not only do I give the sources for the claims about weed, about alcohol, not only do I provide the documentation in the book with footnotes and invite you to get the book and vet it, but I don't even, all right, y'all mad, y'all don't want to pay the $25. Fine, I'm gonna make it easy for you to vet my claims since you so mad. So I published articles in the North Carolinian and in a Final Call with sources. Get the article, vet it. Y'all still don't want to do that. So I said, I'll do you one better. I posted a bibliography, because folks whining about my sources, but they never saw my sources. They're whining in the abstract. So I said, okay, let me provide you my sources free of charge. I posted a bibliography of over 80 sources, and invited y'all. I vetted. If my sources are flawed, if my sources are smashable, well, smash it. I ain't heard nothing from none of them.
Brother,
I put all of this available and invite you to vet it, and still all we get is mad dudes whining. That's gay.
Brother,
that weed got you feminized, bro.
Did you make a YouTube video? A lot of people like you YouTube videos for sources now. They don't like to read no more.
Yeah, but I don't do my Islam like that.
Right.
I don't do my Islam like
Right.
that.
Make a 6-minute video, brother. And that's the problem. Brother, we talked about that last night, and I want to say this again. Please check out the brother book, because that's one thing I touched on last night. All of these, I call them social media prophets, and I respelled prophet P-R-O-F-E-T, because they ain't making $1, so they ain't that type of prophet. They ain't prophesizing nothing, so ain't that type of prophet. So I made them a new prophet. They social media prophets. They don't do no research. They grab anything off of Google, YouTube, and off of Yahoo, and they paste it and they put it up and act like they know something. Those are the ones that are right. They want to continue to smoke weed. They don't want to be responsible and accountable, and they want to be in a daze and asleep. And so that's why they're crying. They don't want to face reality. They don't want to link. They don't want to make a link, and so we can really make some leeway in this struggle. They want to be under this spell. But brother Ishmael, I see you over there, brother. Come on in, brother.
Oh, I'm taking notes, and I'm just doing the knowledge on it. It's always good to be amongst the gods, and it's always good to build.
Hey, brother, this is a powerful thing. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Yes, sir.
Turn it up.
Yes, sir. I gotta tell you.
So I know you can give him a hard one.
The works that Dr. Muhammad has done, he's absolutely right. He even did like a live lecture, at the University of Islam, going into great details, the different aspects of how he derived his information and sharing the information with the public. Very, very forthright. Back in 1991, it must have been about 91, Brother Sharif and myself, I had gotten the regular newspaper, of course, before the internet. And as I was reading the newspaper, there was an article at Upstate Medical Center, which is up the street from me, of my apartment. And I believe the article, was it the Depo-Provera? Is that right, Brother Sharif?
Yes, sir. It was Depo-Provera. It was
Depo-Provera. This is around 91. And they were in articles, and they were experimenting the Depo-Provera on inner city Black women. And the doctor's name escapes me. What was the doctor's name, Brother Sharif?
Philip Ferro. We shout him out. Dr. Philip Ferro, F-E-R-R-O.
Dr. Philip Ferro. Dr. Philip Ferro, in this article, he said that his patients, they were quite ornery and that they could be the B word. He called them the B word in the article. And this new drug that they were experimenting on the inner city Black women, Sharif was coming down from the campus. He was a student at Syracuse University. I explained it to him. I said, God, we got to go see this doctor right now. Number one, he's calling our sisters the B word in his article. Number two, they're putting some type of drug and experimenting some type of drug in these inner city neighborhoods. What is this going on with this Depo-Provera? Again, this was in 1991. We went up to the campus. We went up to his office. He refused to come out of his office. We waited and we waited, and he refused to come out of his office. Depo-Provera. Dr. Muhammad, you happen to be speaking about this. Can you explain the effects or the usage of this Depo-Provera, of what we had identified, and you taking it further? Can you explain that, sir?
Absolutely. And you did the right thing, staking out that man's office. Depo-Provera. The reason 1991 is when the doctor, he and others, was introducing Depo-Provera as a female contraceptive to Black women, was because this was the year, 1991, was during the time that the Bush administration, under his Secretary of Health and Human Services, Dr. Lewis Sullivan, but really the one under him, Director of the National Institute of Mental Health, Dr. Frederick Goodwin, they had initiated a $400 million governmental program called the Violence Prevention Initiative. This was the second phase. The first Violence Prevention Initiative began in 1972 as a direct result and a direct answer to the urban uprisings. The 1972 Violence Prevention Initiative 1 target was the inner city Black males. They invested $1 million of 1972 money to do psychosurgery on the inner city Black male, because they determined that the problem of the urban rebellions was that they had a mind problem. They were oppressed, but they were brain damaged. And in order to fix the problem, they had to fix their brain. And so the government literally earmarked over $1 million to set up centers throughout the cities of America where Black boys would be marshaled into and would undergo psychosurgery, the physical mutilation of the brain with an ice pick. But what happened, and I'm getting the Depo-Provera, you can't understand Depo-Provera of 1991 without understanding the Violence Initiative Program of 1972. This plan to literally physically mutilate the brain of Black boys to make sure they will never rise up in rebellion again, it leaked out. There was a national outcry. And what happened, the government had to drop off of the docket, at least publicly, that aimed to physically mutilate the brain of these Black boys. But what we now know in Violence Initiative Program 2, during the Bush administration, under Dr. Frederick Goodwin, they switched from the physical ice pick. The objective was still to mind fix the inner city Black male, but because they cannot do it with a physical ice pick anymore, by 1990, by the time of the second Violence Initiative Program, they switched from a physical ice pick to a chemical ice pick. So the same psychosurgery that they had planned on Black males, instead of using a physical ice pick, they determined to use chemicals. And in Dr. Frederick Goodman's teaser released under the Freedom of Information Act, it is specifically identified that Depo-Provera will be the drug to, in their words, biomedically control Black boys of the inner city. Now, why is Depo-Provera so horrendous here? Because it became part of this violence prevention initiative, because in the 80s, Depo-Provera was the chief chemical used in laboratories to induce homosexuality in the lab. Depo-Provera was not just one of the key gender inversion chemicals used in the lab throughout the 80s. but it was demonstrated to induce male on male mounting, is what the scientific language is. Males who are administered, male rats, male cats, male monkeys, who are administered in the lab the chemical behind Depo-Provera, they both lifted their rear to other males to be mounted, and they themselves mounted the rear of other males. Depo-Provera induced lab homosexuality throughout the 80s. So then it becomes a drug of choice initiative aimed at Black boys, but why give it to Black women? Because the effects of Depo-Provera, it feminizes men, but it masculinizes women. And the effects of Depo-Provera as a feminine contraceptive, it masculinizes women, and the effects are conveyed through breast milk. And this is why they not only encourage our sisters to take this drug, but women who get pregnant after they have their baby, they immediately impress upon them, and they do it today, what birth control do you want?
Yep.
They immediately want a mother who just gave birth to get on birth control for a reason. And they push, in the 90s, they were pushing Depo-Provera. And they said that if you, this baby you just gave birth to, if you are breastfeeding, you can still take Depo-Provera, because the effects of Depo-Provera is conveyed to the newborn through the breast milk. So Depo-Provera, if she is breastfeeding a male newborn, the same drug is feminizing her male baby while it is masculinizing herself. Depo-Provera administered to adolescent boys in particular, which is who the target of Dr. Frederick Goodman's and the National Institute of Mental Health, the target of their violence prevention initiative 2 of the 90s. The reason Depo-Provera was intended and was covertly administered to young Black boys, because it induces those lab homos, or the homos that were produced in the laboratory, the animal homos, if you will. These were adolescents. So you can administer Depo-Provera to an adolescent boy, and if you administer enough, you can induce homosexuality. And last point on Depo-Provera. 1990, I believe it's 1996, 97. The state of California became the first state to legalize what's called chemical castration. Certain convicted sex offenders can be forcefully, meaning against their will, castrated chemically by injecting a chemical that will deplete their testosterone. This is called, and supposedly kill their sex drive. This is called chemical castration. In 1996-97, California was the first to legalize chemical castration. But after that, 6 other cities or states legalized chemical castration, and many others since then. The drug that they use, the chemical castrating agent used by the state of California to castrate Black men, because as the Innocence Project has documented, disproportionately Black men are charged with sex offenses for which they are innocent. So most of the victims of the state-sponsored chemical castration were Black men, and the agent used to chemically castrate them was Depo-Provera. And now we know that that chemical castration didn't just kill the appetite, the sex appetite. In fact, it didn't do that. It fails as a inhibitor of the sex drive. We now know that not only did it reduce testosterone, but Depo-Provera feminizes the body and it induces homosexuality. So Depo-Provera is the select drug for state-sponsored castration of Black men. Yeah. It is the homosexual agenda of this country. And Depo-Provera, sisters, don't take Depo-Provera.
You opened up a floodgate of knowledge and information on that. Thank you so much, Doctor. Just to tie this in quickly before we go to Brother Taharka, we come into a body of knowledge and information from a very wise teacher, Master Farah Muhammad. We were blessed to have a beautiful messenger of Allah in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as you were explaining about the Depo-Provera, you were dealing with the nursing. How do we, just in tying this as the silverback on the conversation, how do we tie into maybe what our lessons teach us, or what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us about nursing fear, or the transfer of how was it used against us?
Yeah.
If you can touch on that before we go to Brother Taharka.
Yeah, and we're going to tie that to weed and the sister, Brother Taharka, that came to your door, sacked. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that birth control is a genocide plot. It is not an accident that the Black community across the nation are overpopulated, not only with liquor stores, the reason we now know, but also Planned Parenthood. Birth control, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, is a death plot. Because birth control, we now know, the birth control pill, it has a high concentration of estrogen. And the impact of this this excess estrogen, remember, our bodies have a natural divine balance. Excess estrogen ill affects not only the man, it's the woman. Excess estrogen feminizes the man, that masculinizes the woman. And the birth control pill, Black women, of whom are the specific target, the main target of Planned Parenthood and the birth control pills, are Black women. The birth control pill is not only masculinizing women, the excess estrogen is masculinizing women, and it is feminizing your breastfed baby. But a lot of Black women aren't breastfeeding. And a lot of Black women or Asiatic women who would want to breastfeed, and breastfeeding is divine. That breast milk, family, is God's formula for this human organism. Breast milk is magic. Every Asiatic man should be a huge advocate and unapologetic.
That's right.
A non-negotiable advocate of breastfeeding. If you recognize that man is God, then you and we must be the #1 advocates of breastfeeding, because the growth of this body, the biological seat of godhood, the growth of this body is stewarded by the divine formula in breast milk. Breast milk is magic. And this is why not only is this society discouraging breastfeeding, making it an ugly thing. So women don't want to breastfeed.
Right.
Women making it and something to be embarrassed about. If you see a mother breastfeeding her baby in the public, you look at that as a scandal. No, we should look at that as the process of godhood in motion. But not only are they discouraging breastfeeding, those sisters who got some sense and would want to breastfeed, too many of them, unfortunately, will not be able to, because Black women are as big weed smokers today as Black men. And what THC does to women, it inhibits the production of prolactin. Prolactin is the hormone that produces breast milk. The THC in weed inhibits the production of prolactin, so it inhibits the production of breast milk. So mothers, I was on the show, I was on Brother Carl Nelson's show, and the subject came up. And a brother called in and said, and I hope if he listened to it back, he would be ashamed of the foolishness that he let publicly fall out of his mouth. With great pride. You know, what you talking about? My wife smoked weed during the entirety of her pregnancy. And my baby came out, she all right. Astaghfirullah. Shame on you for even feeling comfortable saying that.
Dr. Wesley, real quick, brother. You say that, and brother, and I want to say this, and I feel compelled to say this. The same sister I'm talking about, she had a baby that didn't make it too well.
Yeah.
Right to this day, you know.
And we're unhappy about that. May Allah.
She has a baby right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw it all out, but it didn't make it well. Put it like that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
May we do not applaud that. May Allah intervene in her affairs and heal her child. But a lot of such children we produce, and we don't want to admit it. So if our child is not obviously deformed or grossly slow, we hold our baby up as proof that it's okay for the mother to smoke weed the entirety of the pregnancy. I didn't ask that brother anything about his daughter. I could have asked very directed questions and discovered some things and probably taught him some things about the effect of his wife smoking weed during her pregnancy. But one of the questions I would ask is, I bet you your wife didn't breastfeed, did she?
Mm.
So breast milk, breastfeeding, one of the initial stages of the development of godhood. Marijuana, smoking marijuana, and the ingestion of THC makes that impossible or difficult. So yes, the birth control pills and the marijuana, these all assault or make breastfeeding, which is a transmission of divinity from mother to child, that divine formula, breast milk. Birth control pills and other substances, chemicals like the shot, Depo-Provera is a shot. That process. And so you want, in order to really produce a God, you want to give your child the best chance. You want to start your child off right in his growth or her growth into godhood. You got to breastfeed them. You got to breastfeed them. That is the proper set off for the journey into godhood. When you take that out of, when you start your child, our child, off on a different footing, on the white man's formula, which is different from God's formula, that's Satan's formula. When we start our child there, then we are putting our children at a disadvantage in terms of growth into godhood. So we end up producing not gods, but something very different. More often than not, we end up producing not gods, but niggas.
Mm. Absolutely. Hey, Dr. Wesley, I want to throw this in before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
I used to smoke them old no good cigarettes. Man, I'm telling you, them
Yeah.
cigarettes had me, brother. Oh my goodness, them cigarettes had me something terrible. I beat them, I knocked them out. But when I tried to quit smoking, when I tried to quit smoking, it's like I couldn't. Man, they had a hold on me that was unbelievable. I'm talking about my eyes watered, I was groggy. I want to hit somebody in the mouth. I want to do some things, man. I'm trying. Is the smoking of the cigarettes and the chemicals of the cigarettes different from back in the day? Because I remember back in the day, the old guys would smoke a cigarette and they're plucking, and you don't never see them smoke no more. Maybe a little later, long. But now they smoke cigarettes back to back to back to back to back. You know, I'm 43, so I can look back and I can see, man, hold up. It wasn't always like that. What is the chemical component of the cigarettes? And does it dumb us down and soften us up also?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Let me make this point that's critical, because it keeps coming up. Smoking, whether you're talking about a cigarette, a joint, or the coca plant, smoking is harmful. Family, the cannabis plant was helpful until you smoke that shit. Excuse my language. Once you smoke it,
it's a wrap.
It ain't no good for you. The coca plant is helpful to you until you smoke it. Cigarettes, the tobacco of cigarettes has never been good for us. Anything we smoke, however, is bad. Get that point, family. So you weed heads, don't come at me as they did, quoting the book of Genesis, where God said he's given all of these plants for man's use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Show me in the Bible where he said, smoke it. Smoke these plants. No. These plants do have use and benefit to humanity. But when you smoke it, you ruin it as a benefit to humanity. So when you smoking that weed, bro, you killing. It's no longer a holy herb. So cigarettes, that tobacco was never to be ingested into our bodies. Our cigarettes of 2017 more potent than cigarettes of 1960s? Yeah, everything is more potent. Everything is turned up. The addictions are real. And so when we say what we say, when we shed light on what weed really is and does, what alcohol really is and does, we're not moralizing. This isn't a moral religious discussion.
That's right, brother.
It's a scientific discussion, and it's a revolution discussion. Again, I'm gonna bring this observation to us. Why do black men refuse to rise up against an open enemy, regardless to what he does to us? The answer, because it takes high testosterone to be inclined to rise up. Question again, why don't black folks rise up? Answer, because black folks' testosterone has been assaulted. How? By weed and alcohol.
Yes.
So whether it's weed, alcohol, cigarette, these are addictions. And it's a process to come off of them. I have family that are victims of those addictions. I don't moralize to them. I don't sit in judgment of them.
That's right.
I share what I know about it, and I'm patient with my family and trying to get them off those addictions. Those addictions are real.
Yes,
those
sir.
are chemical flaws in us. So it's not a matter of just saying no. It's not a matter of, all right, I'm going to stop. It's a process, and it's a real demon. And I have genuine sympathy with my family who's victimized by these real addictions, because we are biochemical beings, and these are chemicals that Satan has concocted and deployed on us to imprison us biochemically. And I have a lot of sympathy for our family who do have these addictions, but you, fam, are a wonderful illustration that they can be beat.
Yes, sir.
Your godhood was demonstrated because you conquered the biochemical of Satan. Praise belongs to Allah.
Brother Dr. Wesley, I have a question as we kind of go into like the question and answer, or at least one of the forum people had a question for you. Our brother Hassan.
Yes.
Brother
Yeah, I
Hassan.
want to take the questions from the audience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We posed for a couple questions, and we do have one for you from Brother Hassan.
Mm-hmm.
He would like to know, he said, question to the doctor. Do you have a planned or planning a detailed book on how this chemical attack affects Black women?
Yes. Understand, and incidentally, all of this controversy over marijuana, I see that a series of articles and a detailed lecture, or even a chapter in a 400-page book, isn't sufficient. So I'm currently writing a full book the pot plot, how marijuana feminizes the black man and masculinizes the black woman. And I'm going into detail of, now, of course, in that book, I'm not just going to document or detail the pot plot against black men and black women, but the alcohol plot. In other words, that book is an extension of and a focus on the chemical assault. This book, Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity, it's not all about the chemical assault. It's not all about homosexuality. It has a couple chapters. It's important that we understand that homosexuality is only one phase or one aspect of the unmanning of the black male. And it is very dangerous to focus exclusively on homosexuality, because by making that the only enemy, then other ways of feminization we let fly. And it's the other ways in which we are feminized as men that is most pressing. Most black men aren't homosexual, but most black men are unmanned. And so my book documents, this book documents the various ways that the black male is unmanned, not just in America, but around the world. There's a couple chapters on the chemical process. The book that the brother is requesting, it will be a book devoted to a full elaboration specifically of the chemical assault and how it affects black men and black women. So yes, sir, Brother Hassan, that book is on its way, inshallah.
So my brother, Dr. Wesley, we got a call on the line. Peace and love, family. Where you calling from? What's your name? Talk to us, brother. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, peace, brother? This is Brother Jeremiah. I'm calling from Florida right now. I just have a quick question for Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
I would like to know if would artificial testosterone boost the testosterone levels in men? For example, you have some people who lift weights. You know, some people who are into like muscle growth. Would artificial testosterone boost the levels in young black boys if prescribed by doctors per se?
Yeah, good question.
In any way?
Good question. I won't, because I can't adjudicate on that matter. By which I mean I have to say, fam, I don't know, and this is why. I have not investigated these artificial hormones. I'm suspicious of artificial hormones, but I'm not qualified, and I'm going to pitch that to one who is probably more qualified to speak on artificial boosters. Because no, I don't want to say yay or nay, because I'm suspicious of artificial hormones, but I can't adjudicate. So I want to advise one way or the other. Brother Sharif, will you add on to brother's question?
Yes, sir. I'd be honored to. The simple answer to your question, brother, is emphatically no. That is the simple answer, but I want to qualify it. I want to give more details, right? I mean, we say we say that man is God. Also, too, man's ideal is God. This vessel is, our temple. Now, what we say in Asiatic medicine or Chinese energetic medicine is important. This is the thing. Everything that your body needs can be produced by your body in your body.
That's right.
In Chinese medicine, this is called the superior elixir. All right. Now, anything that you put in your body from the outside is called the inferior elixir. So anything from that perspective is used to supplement the primary. So what happens is that when we start, and it happens a lot, this is well known in sports medicine, you know, you have the psychological addiction to the artificial hormones. And then that becomes a physical addiction very quickly. Why? Because you are telling your body to no longer produce it. You see what I'm saying? And this is what becomes the problem. It's better, think of it like this. Think of it like this. If I want to improve the fruit on an apple tree, I don't work on the apple. I work on the tree.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So we want to improve the body's function. If you really want to deal with that issue, the first person you need to see in terms of doctors is an endocrinologist. That's who you need to see to check your hormone levels. If you're really serious about it, you right. The idea is not to the introduction of artificial hormones into the body externally is a quick fix. You see what I'm saying? But somewhat somewhat temporary one. All right. You want to see an endocrinologist and look at what your body's production level and what you can do to change the production level of your body. That's the more detailed answer, but that's a field of study that's very complicated. I would suggest you talk to a sports doctor or someone involved in professional bodybuilding to deal with that question.
Yes, sir. Next call. Who I got on the line? I want to speak with.
Tenkara.
Say that again, brother.
Tenkara.
Tenkara. Hold up, brother. You gotta tell me what that means, brother. Look. I've been conscious for a little while, but I don't know too many other languages, brother. Help me out, brother. Help me out. Tenkara. Help me out, brother. Share with the family real quick for your question.
Well, basically, I decided to change my name, and I looked up the oldest language still exists is known as Ge'ez.
Yes.
Is spoken by the Abyssinians in Ethiopia. And Tenkara, I talked to my father, and my father said, I asked him, what were you going to call me before my mom changed my name in the hospital? And when he looked into my eyes, he said, strength. So Tenkara means strength or strong.
And praise the Lord, brother. I got a lesson today, my brother. See, that's why I'm not bashful about asking nothing. I needed 100, my brother. Welcome to Moorish World TV. And you're new to me. I hope this ain't the last time you hear, but we got to have good brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad here. Brother, pose your question. Where are you from?
I live in Canada.
Uh-oh, the Canaan land. Come on in, my brother. Ask the good doctor your question, Bram.
My question is, does the Moors or the Nation of Islam has any future aspects of opening their own research center? Because it seems to me that anytime I go to a doctor here, they look at me like, for one, I'm crazy. Two, I seem to know more than they do. Because my one question is to any doctor is, do you know who Henrietta Lacks is? And they have no clue. So my studies, looking back in history and looking at the whole thing where Henrietta Lacks was immortal, so therefore it seems like there's a few, I'd say African Americans or Moabites that are on this side of the planet that are immortal still. And that's what they're trying to eliminate. So is there any research centers or, any medical field that you guys are investing in so that our people can actually go there and get
the right answers instead of just going to, I don't know, like, well, most people are saying our enemy for answers. Because
Right.
I know for a fact, none of it just seems like I'm not getting the right answer from anybody.
Peace, love. Thank you for your question, my good brother. We're going to see if we can answer the best way we can, my brother. Thanks again, brother. Don't let this be the last time to call Strength. Don't get weak and go to them other channels where they bodega scholars. We ain't got no bodega scholars here, all right, brother? You know what I'm talking about.
I watch you all the time. But another thing is what is the closest Moorish temple to Alberta?
Oh man, you gotta inbox me, brother. You're gonna have to get this temple offline right now. Because if I give you one in Alberta, I don't think it's one in Alberta right now. But guess what? You can be the liaison if you get your lessons right. How about that?
Oh, I've been studying.
All right, my brother. Peace and love. I appreciate you, family. Let's try to get this answer in rotation. Peace.
I would like to offer to brother, our brother, may Allah be pleased with him, brother Fidel Castro. I don't know if you knew, the medical culture of Castro's Cuba was second to none. And Fidel Castro offered Black people in America the opportunity under the auspices of the Nation of Islam to come to Cuba and study medicine in Cuba for free. And Cuban medicine was revolutionary medicine. The world lost a giant, and with the loss of Fidel Castro. But that is the nearest example of what I thought I heard you requesting. A research center that isn't the enemy's research, but a research center that is actually making itself available to the Black man and woman in America. And I don't know what Cuba's relationship was with Canada, but I would think that you or your allies would be able to take advantage of that research opportunity as well. That's the one example that comes to my mind of what I think I'm hearing from you.
Yes. All right, we're gonna take this last call, family. Islam, peace and love. Who I'm speaking with?
Hey, peace, I'm Mohammed.
All right, my brother, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Now, brother, listen, I don't know if you watch. Hold on. You watch Moorish World TV, brother?
Yes, sir.
There we go, brother. This is your show. I'm gone. Let me drop the mic like Obama. Now, brother, bring it in, brother. The good doctor waiting for the question, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the chat, brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, brother Wesley.
Wa alaikum salam, fam.
Yeah, this is brother Kyle Muhammad calling from Muhammad Mosque. I'm 96 in Columbus, Georgia. Could you elaborate on the origin of the soybean?
Well, no, I can't elaborate on the origin of the soybean. I can elaborate on the effects of the soybean, but no, I have not. I don't know the origin of the soybean. Do you know the origin? Can you help us out?
No, sir.
Let me pause for a second. This is what I'm talking about. This is a real scholar here. He's not going to sit up there and tell you, well, the soybean started back in 1559, and it was made from a lemon seed, and this lemon seed metamorphosed into a soy. Brother, I honor you.
If I don't know, I say I don't know.
I honor you for that, my brother. Whoa, I give you that.
I appreciate that, brother Parker. Yes. I appreciate that, brother Parker. Yeah, no, we got to stop waxing exotic. If we don't know, just humble ourselves. We don't know. Don't mislead the people.
Exactly, bro. My peace and love, my family. Assalamu alaikum. I appreciate your call. So we're going to wrap it up. So I want to say this, brother. I got to honor you for that, brother. Man, you know how many bodega scholars, man, that I didn't come across in my last 20 years studying more science. Man, I'm telling you, I didn't heard it all. I didn't heard it. They don't have an answer. They just grab one out the air and they just run with it.
Yes, sir. I didn't heard it and seen it too, brother.
Good goodness,
You
man,
all right.
that made my day right there. When you said no, I don't know, brother. And actually on my notes, he was in the chat. Muhammad Mars, 96 Columbus, Ohio. I was gonna give him a shout out, so I'm glad he got through the call. Because he was in the chat. But brother, that deserved the highest of honor and respect. Because
I appreciate that, family.
In this age of YouTube and social media nonsense, everybody can copy and paste and be a scholar.
Yes,
in the
right.
age of this technology we have, everybody can throw a book together. Everybody can say they are a scholar.
Right.
Everybody they got the ability to do it. They didn't go through no halls of learning. All they did was copy and paste from some stuff that was uploaded probably when the internet first started, so you can't find where they got it from. And then throw a book together, add a little few paragraphs, and now they are a scholar on the level of Brother Sharif, Ishmael, and Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Get out of here with that. Not going for that. So in a nutshell, brother, can you wrap it up? What the purpose of the book and the resolution of how to pull our people up out of here, up out of this situation? What is the approach that we can use to begin to try to, like you said, we got to have patience. Like you said with your family, you got to have patience.
Yes, it's a process. It's a process. So in summary, what the book deals with, what we are shining light on, is the many ways in which the white man in America and globally, how the white man has been and is unmanning the Asiatic man. Everywhere the white man has gone on the earth, Brother Tahaka, everywhere he has gone, he had to be the only man in town. And in order for that to be the case, in order for him to be the only man in town, he had to unman the local men everywhere he went. So all of his societies in Africa, in India, in East Asia, in America, all of his societies were built on architecture that unmanned the local man, preserving him as the only man in town. The white man has to be the only man. So what the book shines light on are the various aspects of this architecture. The reason we shine light on it is because by seeing it now, we can disengage it. We can come up out of it. The only antidote to the unmanning of the Asiatic man is the remanning of the Asiatic man. That is, for me, the fierce urgency of now. The Asiatic man must be remanned. Really be remanned. We got to know what manhood looks like. Because, family, there's a lot of people on the front line banging, for example, on homosexuals, but yet they feminized in their own way. They are unmanned in their own way. Homosexualization is only one form of the unmanning of the Asiatic man. We have to, and the point is to shine light on the various ways we are unmanned so that we can disengage those processes and begin the process of remanning all over again. Let us make man. Man is God. Anything less than that, any objective, any evolution that doesn't lead to godhood is a process that doesn't lead to manhood.
Brother Sharif, anything in closing, brother? I got to bounce off that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean,
Come on with it, brother.
I just have to say that this show is definitely one for the history books, like in so many ways. Secondly, I've learned so much. I mean, I know, certain things or whatever. I study certain things. I've been interested in things. This brother's book and what he talked about today and what he unfolded today is so strong. And what I mean by strong is not something that you chat about on Facebook. You know what I mean? Or you have interesting conversation with other people to impress your friends. This is useful stuff. This is operative stuff that you go and you swing that sword, man. And best believe we're going to be using this. I'm definitely going to be using this. I'm very grateful for the information on gender being mostly biochemical. Like, that is powerful. That's powerful. I want to say to the brother and to the audience, the whole issue, and another point you made that was really powerful. Don't think that you're targeting or just isolating the issue to be homosexuality. Mentioning the difference between effeminization, demasculinization, and homosexuality. Those are different things. Shout out to Mumble Rap. But anyway, the whole the whole thing about the assault on manhood. We've been talking about that a long time. Where in the Bible Jesus says, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, right? So I would go further than I respect our brother Juwanza Kunjuku, in the title of his book. But I would go further than to say it's an assault on black boys. I would say it's an assault on the spirit of the ideal of manhood.
Right.
If we wipe that out, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. It's a real war on the spirit of manhood, and what you just revealed with the whole thing of power, even power being broken down biochemically. Come on, man. The responsibility, the onus is on us now.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is very, very powerful. I'm copping my book tonight.
Praise the Lord. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, brother Sharif, brother Ismail Bey, come on in, brother.
I'll definitely let it be known that I've dropped the gauntlet. I will not be defeated with the purchase of the book. So,
absolutely.
It's already done. So mine's is already, done.
Are you scooped though?
Yeah, he's second place.
Okay, but he backdoored you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to say that not only what Dr. Muhammad is sharing with us tonight, why it's not so far away from the environment that we're in right now. We're in a community, as abstract as it is, and it's a surrounding of a lot of alpha males, and there's a lot of hashtag overcompensation taking place.
Yes.
So a lot of overt battles to the point of I've seen so many street codes broken that I literally took a step back. It's so opposite of everything that I know, the things that I see and the things that the snitching and just the diva-like behaviors.
Yes.
It's to the point of sickening that it's something that I just cannot identify with in an environment that I cannot roll with people that think a certain type of a way. So in doing that, the reason why his work is so important is because it's very relevant to an immediate environment that we're in right now. One of the most important things that Wesley Muhammad taught me years ago was methodology, and having a sound methodology. So someone may say, well, his degree is in this, so how is he analyzing that? the precise measurement of a person's methodology is something that's applicable in different fields.
That is correct. That is exactly
So
right.
absolutely. So the analyzing of the data, the collection of the data, the way that the mind is processing, and we used
Right.
to get this challenge with Dr. Mayat also, her being an engineer, her mind is processing things with a sound methodology of her being able to deal with another topic. So Dr. Wesley dealing with this topic
That's
is
right.
not foreign because the methodology is the formula which is being followed. So that's
Thank
why
you for
it's,
making a very important point, Brother
yes,
Ish.
sir. Yes, sir. And I think that's very, very important because the standard that you set as an academic, it raises the bar for me to say, let me tighten up on this. And it keeps me tight as far as the way that I approach how I'm processing things. And whether it's in a form of a debate or just on a quest for knowledge, there's a standard that's set in my immediate vicinity. And that's set by Dr. Wesley Muhammad in order to say, wait, this is tight. So if I see an article, or if I see a book, or if I see just my brother just building, it's a measuring stick to say, okay, I see what's going on. But one of the most important things to emphasize is that even I changed how I differ if there's a difference of how I may see something. I changed my methodology, number one, out of love, number two, out of giving family the benefit of the doubt. So even in my disagreement, there's
Praise.
a right way to disagree, and there's a wrong way to disagree, and there's a better way. It's refinement because we're God. So we refine our methodology.
That's
When you,
commendable maturity. Yes, sir.
yes, sir, and it comes with age, it comes with experience. One of the most important things that happened recently was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan calling you up on stage at Savior's Day in order to hold up your book and your works, number one, as a laborer, number two, as in having a message for President Donald Trump. If you can just kind of highlight what it was that Minister Farrakhan wanted to let Donald Trump know and why this happened, because he's not going to be amongst us physically forever, but it's very significant when a person with his wisdom makes a move like that and the way that it was done.
Yes.
So we should heed that. We should heed the emphasis that he's trying to put out to the mass public. And if you can just share why what message he wanted to send to the public, I'll give you the floor. Thank you.
Yes. I appreciate you, Ish. I appreciate your words. I appreciate, again, the work you are doing through the Amin Ra Squad, because you are helping to raise the standard. Before I answer your specific question, allow me just to reiterate an important point you made about, well, Brother Dr. Wesley's degree is in Islamic studies. What is he doing in this area? People have to understand that a doctorate does not really, a doctorate from a Division 1A research university doesn't indicate mastery of content. It indicates mastery, a certain level of mastery of the ability to research. You don't come out of, I didn't come out of the University of Michigan with my doctorate and a baggage of facts or contents that I got from the University of Michigan. That's not how it's done. The doctorate indicates that your research methodology has passed muster. So you write a dissertation. You are And the dissertation is the final test for you to get your doctorate degree. The dissertation is a book. You're not judged on a successful regurgitation of facts you learned in class. Maybe none of the facts you learned in class will make it in your dissertation. None of the facts I learned in any of my classes made it in my dissertation. In fact, my dissertation contradicted most of the facts that were given to me in all of my classes. It passed because the research and the methodology was challenged. That's the point of the challenge of the dissertation, to challenge your research methods. Can you defend this? And if you can defend it, if your research methods prove sound, you pass. I say all that to say your point is 100. Don't look at the methodology that I learned, the rigor that I learned, the manner of research is what I got from the University of Michigan. And I applied that. That's why, if I can say, I don't want to sound like the brain of an ass, but I got to say, you know, every subject I deal with, I put my foot in it. It don't matter. Every subject I take up, I put my foot in it and become a master of it by Allah's grace. It's because I apply the method, the research skill. My doctorate indicates my acquisition of a research skill set, not my acquisition of a collection of facts. So to your point, I transferred that as you transferred. Every subject I approach, I use the same method. The minister did indicate that he was sending the book to the White House. The reason being, you know, President Donald Trump seems to have a fascination with Chicago. During the campaign, even though Chicago has not as quiet as it's kept, certainly during the campaign, Chicago wasn't the #1 murder city. I don't even think it was in the top 5. But he had a fascination and still has a fascination with Chicago. And so he threatened Mayor Rahm Emanuel that if he doesn't get the violence under control in Chicago, President Trump, will send in the federal troops. But President Clinton by now should know what Mayor Rahm Emanuel absolutely knows, is that the violence of Chicago, like the violence of Detroit, like the violence of LA, like the violence of all of the inner cities, it's government produced. It's not that the city of Chicago can't stop the violence. It's that the violence, in the words of Mayor Emanuel, is contained, meaning it's quarantined in the Black areas. And so it's serving a purpose. So it's not that the city government can't stop it. It's that the city government has an interest actually in perpetuating the violence of South Side Chicago and West Side Chicago. Now, President Trump has never been in government office, local, state, or national. So he's learning some things. The minister said that he's going to send this book to the president for him to read, so that before he comes to Chicago, have an understanding of what produced the carnage that you have been raging against for so long. Understand the context, and his words were, so you don't make matters worse. If the president, if the White House, specifically the president, who has not been in those closed circles before now, where the artificial creation of this violence was plotted and discussed, he's new to these deep state secrets. He's getting a crash course now in these deep state secrets. So the minister, I believe, if I understand him, is saying to the president, in this book, you have an understanding, or through this book, you will have an understanding of what produced the violence in Chicago, what's at the root of it, how it's perpetuated. And you should have this knowledge and understanding before you send your troops to the city. That will only make matters worse. So I believe that is the objective of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan in sending the book to the White House.
Thank you so much for clarifying, brother. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, Brother Sharif. Final question, my brother.
Yeah, real quick. You and I had not even a conversation. It was a brief back and forth on a post you made a few months back, Brother Wesley, about the Nation of Islam, the organization itself, being especially a man in this organization. And I know my brother Talker Baker relate to this with the Moorish Science Temple of America, how the organization builds men because it tries us, and it's a meat grinder. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Yes. And a lot of people, no disrespect, it's just what it is. A lot of people fall out, man. Yes. A lot of people get washed back, as the term is in the military. You know? But it's a meat grinder. And you know, the whole term steel sharpens steel takes on a whole new meaning.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? It takes on a whole new meaning. So, you know, I like you to, as it relates to this topic, you know, elaborate on your experiences and also on how the organization itself, through this type of trial, and even like the Moorish Science of America is very similar, through this type of trial of eating bitter and standing firm in the process, can, you know, in and of itself make men. Or, you know, I would go so far as to say that that process, and I'm speaking personally, can also by necessity reverse the biochemical and cultural poison.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. The lifestyle or the life of an FOI and MGT in the mosque is a very hard life, but by design. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the mosque was never set up to be a mass movement. All Black people, the mosque can't accommodate all Black people. All Black people are not going to be in the mosque. They can have the truth wherever they are, and that's why we go out on the block and teach our people the truth. But everybody isn't going to be in the mosque, and not everyone who comes is going to remain in the mosque. The mosque is for only the vanguard. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this life of ours, this very difficult life, has one aim: to make us gods. Now that process is very difficult. It's very painful. You're not going to get from nigger to God except you go through the meat grind. And this is why, see, this is a man-making machine. It's the difficulty of this life that makes men. And this is why I gotta say this. those outside the Nation of Islam love Malcolm X and his manhood, and you should. Love and admire Dr. Khalid, and you should. But look, man, they were produced, the greatness of them was produced by this process. And what you love of Malcolm, what you admire of Malcolm, is what was produced in Malcolm through this process. What you love in Dr. Khalid, what you admire in Dr. Khalid, is what was produced in Khalid through this process. So for those who mimic or follow Malcolm or Khalid, you cannot be a Malcolm X 2017 if you don't go through this meat grind. You can't. You cannot be a Khalid 2017 except you go through this meat grinder. This life is sine qua non, or it is indispensable. You got to go through the hardship, the pain of living this life in order to grow into manhood, godhood. That's why I said remanning. In order for us to really reman the Asiatic male, we got to know what manhood is, so we know we're shooting in the right direction. And when you realize that manhood is godhood, then you realize that the process from nigga to God requires purgatory. It requires fire. It requires the meat grinder. So all y'all out there claiming Khalid or claiming Malcolm, if y'all didn't go through the meat grinder, I love you. I salute you, but let's keep it 100. Except you will only be an admirer of Khalid, an admirer of Malcolm, but you will never be a Khalid. You will never be a Malcolm. You gotta go through the meat grinder to even have a chance of being Khalid 2007 or Malcolm 2017.
Teach her, Muhammad. Teach her, Muhammad.
Woo! Brother, you don't know what? Let me tell you something. Dr. Wesley. We have right now, as you would know, and I'm not ashamed and very proud Moorish American, but we have something that's going on within the Moorish community where we don't seem to stick. People just grab this stuff off the internet, and now they buy a fad somewhere, and now they represent the Moorish Science Temple of America. They don't have the grind, you said.
Yes.
You go
yes.
and sit
yes.
at the foot of a master.
Yes.
And learn what it is to be a Moorish American, but they grab it off the internet. They buy it and make stashes. They rub it across their chest like this. And it says Supreme Grand Sheiks. They never sit at the footstool of a master, though. They don't even got 2 months in at the footstool of a master and running around masquerading. But what you just said, it rings true in all organizations.
Yes, sir, brother.
You have to go through that grind. Man, I've been under some elders, man. Right now, I'm doing this with permission. I can yell and do this with permission.
Yes, sir.
I didn't just come and do this. And man, you want me to tell what the elders would have said 3 years ago? Brother. But they know it's time now. And I earned my position to do this. The brothers out there that think that this is just a show, this is just an act. Remember, I had one of my grand sheiks on here. One that raised me and say, man, this is him. He was doing this in the temple. He been doing this in the temple. So what I'm saying is, brother, what you say is so critical. All of you want to be leaders. You're going to have to go through the grind.
Yes.
If you want to be a true leader. Brother.
Real talk. Absolutely.
Woo! bro. You touch me with that one because it burns me up when I see absurd. It burns me up. I don't care if it's from the nation. I don't care if it's from the Moorish Temple of America, Hebrew Israelite community, where everybody wants to do their own thing.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Leader.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to be the man.
And what you demonstrate, Brother Tahar, they want to be leaders, but they haven't been tested as followers.
Woo!
See, you got permission, so you follow protocol. The problem with these Asiatic male leaders is they have no respect for protocol because they never came up under protocol.
Exactly.
They just self-starters out, and that's why there's no discipline among the Asiatic male leadership. That's why we cannibalizing each other. We fighting every other day. It's because don't nobody respect protocol.
Right.
Everybody want to do their own thing, and the reason they don't respect protocol because they never lived protocol. They never came up through no ranks. They never had to submit. They never had to honor or obey the instructions of a superior officer. You said, Brother Tahaka, you have to get permission. That means that you have superior officers and you had to comply with your superior officer. Being able to submit to be a follower qualifies you to be a leader. If you don't have, not you, those who don't have a history of being good followers, that they don't have a future in being a leader.
Brother,
Not a good one.
I think, hey, brother, I hope we can do this again real quick, brother. We could go on.
Whenever. The Moors are my family. The Moors are our family. And whenever I can be of assistance, just call your brother.
And we definitely will do that, my brother. This was amazing. Again, family, let me share this to you. Let me share this with you. Please, I'm definitely going before I bed down tonight. That's what you say back in the day, bed down. Before I bed down tonight, I'm going to order mine. And you should order yours, www.drwesleymuhammad.info. All the information that we discussed here tonight, you can have it by your bedside. You can, hey, excuse me, Dr. Wesley, I'm going to kind of keep it 100. When you take a poop, man, you let me read your book.
Hey, hey, I don't have any downtime, so the bathroom is my remote office too. Hey, but no downtime.
And that's me too, my brother. I'm telling you, I stay on the go. I stay trying to push the ideal that we need to unite. We need to come together. Now, in the process, I knock some heads.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you do.
In the process,
because some heads need to be knocked every now and then.
But my goal is this. My goal is to excite people about the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
And you do that, Brother Taharka. You do that.
Yeah, that's my goal. And I'm not telling everybody to put on the fez. I'm not telling everybody to put on the turban because I agree exactly what you said, brother. Everybody can't fit in the temple.
Yes.
Everybody can't fit in the mosque. But
that's
guess
right.
what? Everybody can fit on the line, front line, middle line, back line, right. For the fight for our liberation.
That's right.
I bet that's that. Right. And I don't have to see God like you see God.
That's right.
To fight for my liberation with you. I just need you to love me like you love yourself. Period. Point.
That's right.
Brother, I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you.
Brother, we're going to do this again. And I want you to do that. And don't tell me no stories, because you just say you God. And don't tell me no story. You tell the Honorable Minister Farrakhan the next time you see him. Tune in to Moorish World TV. I love him. I've been following him for years. And we are going to carry on this forever. Through the next
well, it's a matter of public record that I'm saying I shall do that.
Tell him, brother, to hug Bay. He all amped up. He's worked up, but it's all in love. We call it holy zeal in the Moorish Temple of America.
Yes, absolutely. And I was said that, and he will be happy to receive that love. And I know I can tell you that he loves you too. That's real.
Praise the Lord, brother, because I'm telling you, this is the righteous man's hour. It is.
This is the righteous man's hour. That's a good mantra.
It is what it is. So peace and love, family. I hope y'all in the audience enjoy yourself. We're going to do this again. We're going to thank this brother and thank Allah for this brother. And we're going to ask that he continue to be protected on the mission as he travel the highways and byways to uplift and liberate our people. Peace and love, family. We out.
Peace and love.
Excellent shit.